Let me ask you something real. What if the reason you are still stuck is not because you earn less, but because you are playing the wrong level of the money game? Because most people think money is just about earning. But money is not about earning, it is about understanding. And if you do not understand the level you are playing at, you will keep repeating the same life again and again, without even realizing it. And the dangerous part is you will think you are progressing, when in reality you are just moving in circles, and that illusion is what keeps you trapped, because you wake up, you work, you earn, you spend, and you repeat, and it feels like movement. But there is no real progress, and slowly, without noticing, your life becomes a loop. And the worst part is you start accepting that loop as reality. And that is exactly why some people stay broke for years, even after working hard, while others escape that cycle in a shorter time. Because they are not playing the same level, they are not thinking the same way, and they are not making the same decisions. And once you understand these levels, everything becomes clear. Because now you stop blaming luck, you stop blaming circumstances. And you start seeing patterns, you start seeing why some people move forward, and why others stay stuck. And the truth is brutal: most people never move beyond level 1, not because they cannot, but because they never realize that there are higher levels to this game. And if you do not know there is a higher level, you will never try to reach it. And today, I am going to break down the 5 levels of money so you can see exactly where you are and what is keeping you there. Because once you see it clearly, you cannot go back to ignorance anymore. You cannot pretend that everything is fine, because now you understand the game. And once you understand the game, your only 2 choices are to either stay where you are or level up. Level 1: survival. And this is where the majority of people live their entire life. And the most dangerous part about this level is that it feels normal, because everyone around you is doing the same thing. Everyone is working, everyone is earning, everyone is paying bills. And because it is so common, it does not feel like a problem, it feels like life. And that is what makes it so hard to escape, because you are not questioning it, you are just following it. At this level, your entire focus is on survival. Your goal is simple: earn enough to get through the month, pay your bills, manage your expenses, and wait for the next paycheck. And this cycle repeats over and over again. And even though you are working hard, even though you are busy, nothing really changes, because all your energy is going into maintaining your current situation, not improving it. And this creates a constant pressure, because you are always one step away from falling back if something unexpected happens. If your income stops, if an emergency comes, you have no buffer, no protection, and that fear keeps you locked in. And slowly, this survival mindset starts affecting the way you think, because when you are constantly focused on survival, you cannot think long-term, you cannot take risks, you cannot explore opportunities, because your brain is in protection mode. It is trying to keep you safe, not help you grow. And this is why people at this level often say things like, I cannot afford to take risks. I cannot try something new. I cannot leave this job, because they are not wrong from their perspective. Because when survival is at stake, risk feels dangerous, but what they do not realize is that staying in the same place is also a risk, just a slower one. And this is where the trap becomes deeper, because over time, you start building habits around survival. You start making decisions based on immediate needs, not future growth. You prioritize short-term relief over long-term progress. And these small decisions, repeated daily, create a pattern. And that pattern defines your life, because your life is nothing but your repeated decisions. And if your decisions are driven by survival, your results will always reflect that. And another hidden problem at this level is emotional exhaustion, because constantly worrying about money, constantly managing expenses, constantly thinking about bills drains your energy. And when your energy is low, your ability to think clearly decreases, your ability to make good decisions weakens. And this creates a cycle where stress leads to poor decisions, and poor decisions lead to more stress. And this cycle keeps repeating. And this is also where comparison starts affecting you, because you see others doing better, you see people traveling, buying things, living a different lifestyle, and you start questioning yourself. You start feeling like you are behind, and that feeling can either motivate you or break you. But most of the time it creates frustration, because you want change, but you do not see a clear path forward. And without clarity, frustration turns into acceptance, and acceptance turns into stagnation. And the harsh truth is most people never leave this level, not because they lack potential, but because they adapt to it. They adjust their expectations, they lower their goals, and they convince themselves that this is enough. And once that happens, growth stops completely. Because growth requires discomfort, growth requires questioning, growth requires the willingness to accept that where you are is not where you want to stay. But the moment you become aware of this level, the moment you realize that you are in survival mode, everything starts to shift. Because now you can see the pattern, now you can see why nothing is changing. And that awareness is powerful, because you cannot change what you do not see. But once you see it, you have the ability to act differently. And the first step to moving out of survival is not earning more money, it is changing your mindset. Because if your mindset stays the same, even if your income increases, you will still behave the same way, you will still make the same decisions. And eventually, you will end up in the same position again. And that is why some people earn more but still feel stuck, because they never left the survival mindset, they just upgraded their lifestyle. And breaking this mindset requires awareness, discipline, and intentional action. It requires you to start thinking beyond just the next paycheck. It requires you to start asking, how can I create stability? How can I build a buffer? How can I move from reacting to planning? And this shift may seem small, but it is the beginning of transformation, because now you are no longer just surviving, you are preparing to grow. And once you take that step, once you start thinking differently, you begin to move towards the next level. And that is where the real change begins, because now you are not just trying to stay afloat, you are trying to move forward. And that difference is what separates those who stay stuck from those who start rising. Level 2, stability. And this is the level where life starts to feel a little easier. This is also where the most dangerous illusion begins, because at this stage, you are no longer struggling to survive. You are able to manage your expenses, you have some control over your money, you can save a little, and things feel stable. And this feeling of stability creates comfort, and comfort creates a silent trap. Because when things are not painful enough, you stop pushing yourself to grow. And that is exactly why many people get stuck here for years without even realizing it. Because at this level, your income is still tied to your time, you are still trading hours for money. But now it feels acceptable, because you are not under pressure like before. You can afford small luxuries, you can enjoy life a little more. And this creates a false sense of progress, because you think you are moving forward. But in reality, your position has not changed much, you are still dependent on your income source. You are still vulnerable if that income stops, and you are still limited by how much time you can give. And the biggest problem here is fear of losing stability, because once you experience comfort, you become protective of it. You start avoiding risks. You start saying things like, what if it does not work? What if I lose what I have built? And this fear slowly kills your growth, because growth always requires stepping into uncertainty. And if you are not willing to face uncertainty, you will never move beyond this level. And this is where most people make a critical mistake. They confuse stability with success. They think just because things are under control, they have achieved something significant. And this belief makes them stop pushing, because they feel satisfied, and satisfaction without growth leads to stagnation, because the world does not stop evolving. And if you stop growing, you start falling behind, even if it does not feel like it immediately. And another hidden issue at this level is lifestyle inflation, because as your income increases, your expenses also increase. You upgrade your lifestyle. You spend more on comfort, more on convenience, more on things that make you feel good in the moment. And slowly your financial obligations grow. And this makes it harder to take risks, because now you have more to maintain, more to protect. And this creates a stronger attachment to your current situation, which keeps you locked in. And over time, this becomes your identity. You start seeing yourself as someone who is stable, someone who has a fixed routine, someone who does not take risks. And this identity reinforces your behavior, because you act according to who you believe you are. And if you believe you are someone who plays safe, you will always choose safety over growth, even when opportunities are in front of you. But the truth is stability is not the destination, it is just a transition. It is the foundation that allows you to build something bigger. But if you stop here, you will never experience real growth because this level is designed to keep you comfortable, not to make you wealthy. And that is why you have to make a conscious decision to move beyond it. Because if you rely on comfort to push you forward, you will never leave this level. And the way to move forward is by changing your focus from comfort to growth. You have to start asking different questions, not how can I maintain this, but how can I expand this? How can I increase my value? How can I create opportunities beyond my current situation? And these questions shift your thinking, because now you are not just protecting what you have, you are building something more. And this is where level 3 begins, because once you decide to grow, everything changes. Level 3 growth, and this is where the real game starts, because this is the level where you stop being passive and start becoming intentional. You stop waiting for opportunities and start creating them. You stop relying only on your job and start building something on the side. And this shift is powerful because it changes your role in the game. You are no longer just a participant, you are becoming a creator. And at this level, your mindset begins to evolve. You start questioning your current situation. You start realizing that your income is limited not because of your effort, but because of your approach. And this realization pushes you to explore new paths. You start learning new skills. You start experimenting with ideas. You start trying things that are outside your comfort zone. And this is where growth begins. But this phase is not easy because nothing is guaranteed. You will not see immediate results. You will face uncertainty. You will doubt yourself. And this is where most people quit because they expect quick success. They expect validation. And when they do not get it, they go back to what feels safe. But those who stay in this phase, those who continue building, even when results are not visible, eventually break through. Because growth is not instant, it is a process. And this is also the phase where failure becomes your teacher, because you will try things that do not work, you will make mistakes, you will face rejection. But each of these experiences gives you feedback. It shows you what works and what does not, and over time you start improving, because now you are not just working, you are learning, and learning is what accelerates growth. And another important shift at this level is how you see time, because earlier you were trading time for money, but now you start seeing time as an investment. You start asking, how can I use my time to build something that will pay me in the future? And this question changes your priorities, because now you are not just working for today, you are building for tomorrow. And this is where skills become your biggest asset, because your ability to create value determines your growth. And the more valuable you become, the more opportunities you attract. And that is why people at this level focus heavily on improving themselves, learning new things, developing skills that can generate income. And this continuous improvement creates momentum, because each new skill opens new doors. And slowly, as you keep building, something starts to change. You begin to see small results, maybe a small income from your side work, maybe recognition, maybe opportunities. And these small wins build confidence, because now you have proof that your efforts are working, and this motivates you to continue. And over time, these small wins compound into something bigger. And this is the turning point, because once you experience growth, once you see that you can create opportunities, you can never go back to being passive again, because now you understand that your future is not fixed, it is something you can build. And this realization is powerful because it removes the feeling of being stuck and replaces it with a sense of control. But this level requires consistency, because growth does not happen overnight. It happens through repeated effort, through continuous learning, through persistent action. And if you stop midway, you lose momentum, and without momentum, progress slows down. And that is why most people who enter this level never fully benefit from it, because they do not stay consistent long enough. But if you can stay in this phase, if you can keep building even when it feels slow, even when results are not immediate, you eventually reach a point where your efforts start compounding. And that is where everything changes, because now you are no longer limited by your starting point. You are moving towards something bigger, something scalable, something that has the potential to transform your life completely. Level 4 leverage. And this is where the game completely changes because up until now your growth was still dependent on your effort, your time, your energy. But at this level, you start breaking that limitation because you begin to understand one simple truth, that you cannot become wealthy by relying only on your own effort, because your time is limited. But systems are not, and the moment you understand this, your entire approach shifts. Because now you are no longer asking, how can I work more? You are asking, how can I make my work multiply? And leverage is what makes that possible, because leverage allows you to create once and benefit multiple times. It allows you to use tools, systems, people, or capital to expand your output without increasing your effort. And this is where most people never reach because they stay stuck in the mindset of effort. They believe that more work equals more results. But at this level, you realize that smarter systems create bigger outcomes than harder work ever can. And this is where your previous growth starts paying off, because the skills you built, the experiences you gained, the knowledge you developed, all of it becomes a foundation for leverage. Because now you can use those skills in a scalable way. You can create something once and distribute it to many. You can build processes that run without constant involvement. You can invest resources that grow over time. And this is how your income starts detaching from your time. And once that detachment begins, everything accelerates, because now you are no longer limited by hours in a day. Your work continues even when you are not actively working. And this is what creates real momentum, because now your efforts start compounding, and compounding is what builds wealth. Not isolated actions, not random success, but consistent actions that multiply over time. And this level also requires a different kind of thinking, because now you are not focused on doing everything yourself. You are focused on optimizing, delegating, automating, and building systems that can operate independently. And this is difficult in the beginning because you are used to controlling everything. You are used to relying on your own effort. But to scale, you have to let go of that mindset. You have to trust systems. You have to trust processes. And sometimes you have to trust people. And this shift is what allows you to grow beyond your personal limits. And this is also where patience becomes even more important, because building leverage takes time. Creating systems, setting up processes, building something that can run without you does not happen instantly. But once it is built, it continues to produce results. And that is the difference between linear growth and exponential growth. Because linear growth depends on constant effort, but exponential growth depends on systems that multiply results over time. And this is why very few people reach this level, because it requires a complete shift in identity. You are no longer just someone who works, you are someone who builds, someone who designs systems, someone who creates opportunities. And that identity changes how you see everything, because now you are always looking for ways to scale, to expand, to multiply. And this mindset is what separates those who achieve financial freedom from those who remain dependent on their time forever. Level 5 wealth. And this is the level everyone talks about, but very few truly understand, because wealth is not just about having money. It is about having control over your time, your decisions, your direction. And at this level, money is no longer something you chase. It becomes something you use. It becomes a tool that allows you to design your life the way you want. And the biggest difference at this level is freedom, because you are no longer forced to make decisions based on money. You are no longer stuck in situations because you need income. You are no longer limited by survival or stability. You have options, and options are power, because when you have options, you can choose what aligns with you instead of what you are forced to accept. And this level is not built overnight. It is the result of everything that came before it: the awareness from level 1, the discipline from level 2, the growth from level 3, and the leverage from level 4. All of it combines to create this stage. And that is why most people never reach here, because they try to skip steps. They want the result without the process. They want the outcome without the transformation. And that never works, because wealth is not just built externally. It is built internally through mindset, through habits, through consistency. And another important truth about this level is that money stops being the goal. Because once you have enough money, you realize that what you truly value is not money itself, but what it gives you: time, freedom, peace, the ability to choose. And that realization shifts your focus. Because now you are not trying to prove anything to anyone, you are not chasing validation, you are simply building a life that aligns with your vision. And this is also where impact becomes important, because once your personal needs are met, you start thinking beyond yourself. You start asking, how can I create something bigger? How can I contribute? How can I use what I have built to create value for others? And this is what gives deeper meaning to wealth, because it is no longer just about accumulation, it is about creation, it is about expansion, it is about influence. And now the most important question is not which level is the best. The real question is, where are you right now? Because your awareness of your current level determines your next move. Because if you think you are growing while you are actually stuck, you will never change. But if you see your reality clearly, you can start moving forward intentionally. And the truth is brutal, but simple: no one is coming to change your level. No one is going to move you forward. This game is completely in your control. And every decision you make, every habit you follow, every action you take either keeps you in the same level or moves you to the next. And the difference between those who stay stuck and those who rise is not luck, it is awareness followed by action. And once you understand that, everything changes, because now you stop waiting, you stop hopping, you stop blaming, and you start building. And the moment you start building consistently, you begin to move, and once you start moving, you create momentum. And once momentum builds, your growth becomes unstoppable. And one day you will look back and realize that the biggest change was not the money, it was the way you started thinking. Because the moment your thinking changed, your actions changed. And the moment your actions changed, your life followed. And that is the real game, because money is not just something you earn, it is something you understand. And once you understand it, you stop chasing it and start controlling it.